Hello, my name is Sarah Lupika. I'm the day shift phlebotomy lead here at PRMC. So this is just the area that all my phlebotomists get all their equipment. We are down here in the morning and we get all of our supplies to go out and do our draws for the day. This is our cart. Once again, has all our supplies. We run everything on Soft ID, and this is how we can see what patients we have in what area of the hospital. We're on our feet a lot. We do about 8 to 12 miles a day. We service oncology, family birthing, the Heart Institute, and the Core Tower, that we've now added beds to. Right now, we just got a stat on 3rd floor for a COVID swab, so that's where we're gonna head out to. Okay, so now I'm here at the patient's room that I need to get the COVID swab on. You can see that we have the signage up here on it. We have all the equipment outside the room behind us. You can see the IV poles. I'm going to get dressed and go in and get the swab. First, I'm gonna put on my hairnet, just because there's potential that, it's airborne, so we don't want any residual on your hair. And I'm gonna put my N95 on. I can only wear this out in the hall. And these N95s prevent about 95% of anything getting in. I'm gonna put on this gown. As I'm sitting here tying all this together and trying to get myself ready, more draws are building up on our Soft ID over here as I'm watching it. The hospital never stops. I go ahead and put my goggles on, put our gloves on. So I'm gonna go get the swab. So I just collected my swab. As you can see, I don't have my gown on anymore, my gloves, because that all stays in the room, so there's no contamination. I'm gonna take off my goggles, take off my N95, and then put my normal mask back on. Clean my hands again. We're now gonna walk this down to the lab because it cannot be sent in the tube station because they worry about if it would leak, it would contaminate the whole computer tube system and anybody that comes in contact with it down in the lab. So now we're in the lab. This is where I'm gonna drop off the COVID swab at. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Kelly here, and she'll make sure it gets to the area it needs to. Thank you, Kelly.
Welcome. I'm Kelly. I work in processing, and once the bot brings down the COVID specimen, we receive it in the computer, and then we take it back to chemistry.
Hi, I am Lynn Sublo. I work in the lab, specifically the molecular department. They just dropped off a COVID specimen, so I will be throwing that on a Cepheid and getting that running. Anytime I come over to do a COVID specimen, I always make sure I put on a fresh pair of gloves. We also work in a biosafety hood, just to make sure that any aerosols that are escaped during the process, we are not potentially breathing them in. I will also wear my face shield as an extra barrier, just in case. These are the cartridges that we run on the Cepheid. They have all the primers and every nucleotides that we need for our PCR test. PCR stands for polymerase chain reaction. It uses thermocycling in order to amplify DNA in order to give us a determination on whether someone is either positive or negative for COVID using a specific DNA primer strain. So the first thing I do is I just mix the specimen a couple times just to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed. As I said, everything that we need is already in the cartridge for us, so we don't have to worry about extracting the DNA or doing any of those extra steps that are usually necessary in the process. So I just pipette up. It's about 10 microliters of specimen. I'll just put it in, and then we throw the rest of it away in a biohazardous material box. We close everything up. Before I walk away, we make sure we spray the inside of the hood, that way it's all cleaned off for the next time we go to do another specimen. I'll walk over to the instrument. We just scan in the patient label. It tells us what type of test we should be doing. I'll scan the barcode that's already on the cartridge. So it recognizes the test that we're doing, it recognizes the patient that we're doing it on. And then the instrument will automatically load it and do the thermocycling inside the instrument. Right now it's unloading the cartridge. After it's unloaded that cartridge, it will put on the new cartridge I just loaded on. And inside that little chamber is where all the thermocycling occurs. It takes about 50 minutes for the specimen to run once it's on the instrument to completion. And then once it's finished running, it'll give us either a positive or a negative result. So the whole process from me doing this pipetting to actually putting it on the instrument usually takes about 55 minutes. Here in the lab, between a couple of different instruments, not just the Cepheid, but we also have microbiology testing and the Roche 6800 that also does Roche testing, COVID testing. Do probably somewhere between 500 and 550 a day. And this is one of our faster methods, with it only taking about 55 minutes. So the sooner we can get the test results done and back to the doctor, the sooner the doctor will know how to treat the patient.
We had a lot of change. Most people know that work with us. We only work Monday through Fridays because of the FedEx pickups, but we were coming in weekends, we were coming in holidays, we were doing a lot of extra work to make sure that the patient's testing was getting done.
Every decision we made this year, we had a lot of change, we made a lot of decisions, a lot of fast decisions, but we did it always thinking about our patients and our providers and how they would care for those patients and our employees. One thing that was very evident this year is that we would not have been able to do any of this without all of us working together. It takes the entire system to be a success.